You said AI is the best investment opportunity of our lifetime. And obviously our lifetimes very much include, the internet. And so walk me through how and why AI is a better investment opportunity than the internet.
Okay, that's a great question. The internet is a protocol. It's open source. It is extremely democratized, always has been. You could put up a website, anyone could put up a website very quickly. Nobody owns the internet. AI, complete opposite. It's proprietary. Not only these companies own the large language model, they may at times open source it, but it's corporate owned. OpenAI, of course, owns their models. Meta does own Llama. They open source it, but it's proprietary and it's their model. Uh, Barrier to entry could not be higher for AI. Barrier to entry could not be lower for the internet. So again, any average Joe or Jill could put up a website. The amount of people, or amount of companies, or amount of businesses that could train a large language model are very few. It's extremely expensive, millions of dollars. On top of that, we obviously have a shortage of GPUs. So even if you have all the money in the world, which a lot of these companies do have large cash reserves, it's still hard to get all the GPUs required in order to build these proprietary large language models that hopefully will prevent their extinction and instead will create a winners take all market. So when I think about the internet, I would go toward crypto or Bitcoin as a protocol, Web3 being a little more of a apples to apples, where I don't see any parallel between AI and the internet for those reasons, sort of a 10,000-foot view.
Oh, it's really helpful. I appreciate you kind of breaking that down from a technical standpoint. When you think about AI, one of the things that I think the market has general angst about is the speed with which AI applications are being developed, and really, I would say the lack of speed with which they're being developed. So thus far, the gains have been largely concentrated to the picks and shovels. In terms of the AI related gains, obviously we've seen a lot of tech companies do well, but that's primarily because their legacy software businesses are doing well. When we talk about the sort of the future AI from an application standpoint, what are the types of things that maybe don't exist today or only exist in a very nascent form today that will be just part of how we do business in the world? Let's call it 2 to 3 years from now.
Yes, what Microsoft is trying to develop, and Microsoft is a great company to keep an eye on because from my perspective, I said this years ago, it seems to be playing out that AI is an enterprise technology first and foremost. It'll be years from now before it hits consumers. And who is an enterprise bellwether? Microsoft. And when you look at what they're doing, they're creating a Copilot, which is an AI assistant that leverages data from your own computer or your own company, and it starts to get to know you on a more custom level. And all that digging around, I give you probably something that will be happening in the next 1 to 2 years. All that digging around for files on your computer, gone. All that digging around for emails and trying to find those documents that, from a week ago, a month ago, that will be removed. You'll just say, hey, Copilot, find the Dariusdale email where we chatted about timing for the interview, and it'll pop up, rather than me going through and looking for it all. Those kinds of productivity things will happen at the consumer level. I would look more for those big moves on, operating expenses that startups and companies can quickly eliminate through AI. And it's like that Salesforce example, which has been theoretically the reason AI is so important right now, is because it can remove those high costs. And we're already seeing it happen. And so what I would also say is that when you think of the big three, AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, they are almost fighting. I don't want to put it in these dire terms like they're fighting for survival, they're going to go out of business, but they're fighting for relevance to some extent. Who will be the most relevant in the new AI economy? And they have to be first, maybe second, but not third, because once people integrate these technologies, the switching costs can be quite high. Once you train them, once you use, let's say, a model that's hosted on Azure, the chances you change are pretty low. It takes a lot to change your cloud infrastructure as a service. We started our company 5 years ago. We use Google Cloud. I can't imagine, paying for that change or that in time and resources. And we're 10 people company. Imagine if you're thousands. So they're racing for that reason that it would be unlikely or hard. Switching costs would be high to change your AI infrastructure down the road. So I would kind of think about it from that piece all the way down to someday the consumer will be using these features. But Apple, for example, not my favorite AI play. Microsoft all day long before Apple, and it's because of those enterprise use cases.
Gotcha. Why not Apple?
Consumer is going to be tougher, in my opinion, for AI. AI is expensive. You're going to have to pay for it. And consumers are they're not replacing tens of millions out of operating expenses by adopting AI. It's a harder user adoption curve than enterprises, which have an immediate upside, technical engineer departments that can work with these, AI and make it have that return in what I would call Wall Street's definition of near term to medium term. There's a lot of development that still needs to happen in order for those perfect consumer apps to come out, cost the right amount, and be exciting enough to the consumer, because consumers don't really have a productivity need. I would almost argue they lack productivity to a high degree. I mean, social media is such a productivity waste. So when you say to them, hey, you're going to be more productive, they're like, well, I don't really care. I spend 5 hours on Instagram. But, the companies are thinking, if I could eliminate checking email, that would maybe save an hour per employee. How much do these employees make, et cetera, et cetera. So considering that, in my opinion, AI is first and foremost designed to increase productivity, not sure consumers care to increase their productivity. If you look at social media trends, pretty unproductive